Fuck it, I'm back. I said, fuck it. We might as well just listen to this motherfucking AI shit together. I said, fuck it, dog. We gonna listen to it. I said, fuck it. I just said, fuck it. You know what? Fuck it, dog. Let's see what they got. Let's just see what they got.
Bunch of people behind us. So you may be on camera, so just be aware of that. I'm Ian Bremer. I'm your host for a short but going to be very concise and effective panel of 360 on AI regulation. I have wonderful people here, of course, covering the gamut globally. Vera Jourova, the Vice President for Values and Transparency for the European Commission. We have Josephine Teo, who is the Minister of Communications of Singapore. We have Arthi Prabhakar, who is the director of the White House Office of Science and Technology, and then we have Brad Smith, who is the vice chair and president of Microsoft. So if we're talking about 360 on AI regulation, we have heard probably more than we have wanted to hear this week so far about AI. Right? It is everywhere. We've certainly seen more than we wanted to see on the promenade, and that probably means that we've heard a lot of things that aren't so. So I want to focus on the things that this group thinks are so. And instead of doing a 360, we've got four people. I'd like them each to do a 270. And what that means is I want them to talk about your views on AI regulation as it stands today. Everyone's been putting a lot of effort in. But don't talk about your own institution. Talk about how the other institutions are doing. What do you agree with? Where are their challenges? Give us the lay of the land without talking about, say, Europe.
Okay, I am far from trying to speak about the European Commission. I understand you want me to speak about the AI, and the regulation is in place. We have it already now in the EU, but of course it cannot stand alone. We also combine in the EU the AI Act with a lot of big plans in investments, public-private partnership, sandboxes for the companies, standardization, which will involve industry, because the industry itself and the technologies have to work together on the standards. So there are a lot of things which have to be done by many. The member states will also have the role in enforcement next to the Commission, because we have a role as the Commission. You didn't want me to speak about the Commission.
You don't want me to speak about the commission. Wow, why? Why you can't talk about the commission, bitch? Why? All I heard was enforcement, and we can't talk about it. All right, bitch. I know you're doing some secret shit in the EU.
She's going to get a 360 no matter what, but I want a 270. I will let you talk about your promise.
But what I wanted to say, we need in Europe a lot of creativity, and I would even say optimism, in looking at AI in all sectors, in all fields, be it private, be it public, because the AI promises a lot of fantastic benefits for the people. And so the regulation is the precondition to cover the risks, but the rest remains to be free for creativity and positive thinking. And I think that in Europe we are well placed.
Because it's the first question, I'm going to give you a second chance at that, which is let's talk about how AI regulation is doing outside of Europe. What do you think? When you look at the Americans, you look at the Chinese, you look at the private sector, you look at the other actors, because everyone's focusing on it.
Ooh, this nigga said the other actors. Ooh, can we say the world is a stage? Can we just say the world is a stage? The other actors. He said it with such conviction.
How do you think they're doing?
Similar situation as we had with GDPR, and I was also the signed under GDPR in 2015. We felt that this might serve as a global standard, but we were not just passively sitting in Brussels waiting that the others will copy paste. No, we were in very frequent dialogue with the United States, with many others, explaining what we have in GDPR, what might be followed, and trying to create some kind of global standard without mentoring others. similar thing might happen now with AI Act. But I think that there is promising space for international cooperation. We have under the G7 roof the code of conduct for the technologies, the ethical principles for AI. We work with UNESCO, we work with the United Nations. We believe that
you work with UNESCO, we work with the United Nations. I hate those motherfuckers. You say United Nations, bitch. You motherfucker.
The AI Act could serve as an inspiration, and we are, of course, ready to support this process.
Deidre Fairley, Arthur, help me out. Talk to me about AI regulation.
It's an enormous priority in the United States. We know that AI doesn't stop at the borders, and so we absolutely care about what's happening in the rest of the world. We've talked a lot about Europe, and I think that we've had some excellent dialogue as we worked towards the president's executive order that he signed at the end of October, and the EU AI Act. Too many vowels in this business, and that's been terrific. I think GDPR is an example of a place where we made some progress for the world on privacy. I think it creates enormous problems for the industry to not have the full harmonization there. This is an area where President Biden continues to call on our Congress to act on privacy legislation. We usually talk about the US, the EU, and China. I'm also really interested in what happens in the rest of the world with AI, because the opportunities are so substantial, and I see the eagerness and the interest. But I think we're just at the beginning of this story, but that's an area that I'm watching with great interest as well.
On balance, do you see more trends towards alignment or fragmentation as you look at the various approaches and the urgency around the world today?
Yeah, I think everyone shares a sense of urgency because AI's been around. This is not our first encounter with AI, but what has happened in the last year has focused everyone's attention on how pervasive it's going to be in everyone's lives in so many different ways. And there will be places where harmonization can occur, and we're working towards it, and we can approach, I think, really good harmonization that forms the foundation that everyone can build on. And I think we just need to be clear that we will all compete economically. There will be geopolitical and strategic competition that's based on AI. So both of those happen at the same time. And I think that's, in many ways, that's like many other strategic industries that have grown in strategic technology.
Singapore as a country, of course, has been so successful in working well with pretty much everyone. And it's also one of the most geopolitically savvy per capita countries out there, because you have to be, right? So in that environment, do you see AI regulation emerging in an area that's going to be relatively easy for Singapore to navigate globally, or not?
Well, if we take a step back, I think in the first place we should recognize that our interest is in AI governance, not necessarily only in regulations. And in AI governance, there are also other very important things to do. For example, you must have the infrastructure to be able to support the deployment and the development. You need to be able to build capabilities within the enterprise sector as well as individuals. And then you need to talk about international cooperation too. Regulations, laws, they are going to be necessary. But it doesn't mean that we know on day one exactly what to do. So I found it very refreshing to hear from Vera that Europe is also interested not just in regulating, but also in expanding the opportunities. That's the kind of balance I think we will need. If you'll allow me, Ian, I also want to respond briefly to the point that you were trying to get at. Do we see more alignment or fragmentation specific to regulations? I think it is not surprising at this phase that there will be many attempts at trying to define what the risks are going to be and what are the right ways to deal with them. So this is, to my mind, a divergent phase. It means that some of the frameworks or some of the attempts that come out, they don't always sync so closely to one another. But I think over time, we have to embrace this dynamic, and I'm hopeful that it'll take a while, but we will all become clearer about where the use cases are going to present themselves and where the producers are going to be and what are the risks that we should be spending more time guarding against. So the convergent phase hasn't hit us right now, but I'm hopeful that it will come. And that's what the world will also need. For a small country, we can't have rules that we made for AI developers and deployers in Singapore only, because they do cross borders. It makes no sense, for us to say that this set of rules applies here. But if you're coming, you must comply only with our rules. These have to be international rules.
Different focus, different governments. Bletchley, I mean, they just wanted to stick a flag in. They had some issues they wanted to deal with. Europeans, Chinese, different perspectives. But you also see a lot of overlap despite the divergence. Talk a bit about that, Brett.
Yeah, I actually first start where Vice President Jourova began. It's worth just recalling that there are a wide variety of laws in place around the world that were not necessarily written for AI, but they absolutely apply to AI. Privacy laws, cybersecurity rules, digital safety, child protection, consumer protection, competition law. So you have existing regulators, courts, and the like, all working with that, and companies are working to navigate it. Now you have a new set of AI-specific rules and laws. And there, I do think there's more similarity than most people assume. People are often prone to look at the AI Act, they look at then the executive order or the voluntary commitments in the United States, and the fundamental goals are complementary in my view. The AI Act started by looking at the fundamental rights of European citizens, the values of Europe, privacy, the protection of consumers, democratic rights, all things that are.
I'm about to motherfucking look up the AI Act. That shit slid under my motherfucking nose. I didn't even know that fucking shit happened. But anyway.
Held equally as important in the US and other places. It started at the applications layer. That's really how it was originally drafted, the deployers of AI. And then last year they realized they needed to address foundation models. At the White House, they jumped in right away to address foundation models, focused first and foremost on what I would call safety and security. But when they adopted their executive order, they built out a comprehensive list of all of the issues that mattered. There will, of course, be differences. The details matter. The executive order calls for all kinds of things to be prepared. Even the AI Act is still, the fine-tuning is taking place. The writing, we haven't yet seen it, but the pattern actually begins to fit together. And then you have the G7 Hiroshima process and even the UN Advisory Board, and you see these things laddering.
The UN Advisory Board. You know what the UN is? United Nations, right? Advisory Board is what's the heads of the head? You know how a motherfucker be talking in the seat and it'd be like two shadowy niggas, be like right behind the guy that's in the seat. And the motherfucker, like the shadowy nigga, motherfucker whisper to the nigga in the seats here and tell him to say something, and the motherfucker say something to the round table. It's only the advisory nigga. I'm not sure. You know, like back in the day, kings had advisors. You know what I'm saying? You know that nigga from Aladdin, the motherfucking fat little salty nigga. You know, Jafar was an advisor.
Up in a way that makes a fair amount of sense. So it doesn't mean that we'll have a world without divergence, but we first have to recognize people actually care about a lot of the same things and even have some similar approaches to addressing them.
The European Commission was first in recognizing the need for regulation and governance in the space and in moving pretty decisively. What is it that you think created that urgency? What did the Europeans see that the Americans and others were later to the table at?
I think that the European Union is a special place where we have a special kind of instinct for the risks, which might come from the world of technologies to individual rights of people. And this is already projected. I have to mention again GDPR. With GDPR, we just wanted to empower individual people to be the masters of their own identity in the digital world. And so a similar thing happened with the AI development, where we were looking at the technologists, what they are doing, what they are planning. We had discussion with Brett about that in 2018, I think, or 18. And I praised the cooperation because we
Salute, Red Squid X in the building.
ethics standards. And I was clear that we don't have to rush with the regulation now, 2019, because we have the GDPR and we have the main thing done in the EU, the protection of privacy and cybersecurity.
There we go. The privacy and cybersecurity is there. Yo, we got it down pat. We watching these motherfuckers. We got that down pat. We got the workers and agents in place. We the EU, motherfucker.
And in 2021, it was inevitable that we adopted the AI Act, and then we got the lesson. Very, very exciting moment when we saw that it's true that legislation is much slower than the world of technologies, but that slow that we suddenly saw the generative AI and the foundation models and ChatGPT, and it moved us to draft together with the global legislators the new chapter in the AI Act. So we tried to react on the new reality. The result is there. Yes, the fine-tuning is still ongoing, but I believe that the AI Act will come into force. So I think out of the basic instinct we have in the EU that we have to guarantee that the principal values will be untouched for the human beings. I heard this morning somebody from industry who said,
man, the way she said it, for the human beings, the way she said it, she don't sound fucking human. Like, do y'all agree? Or is it just me? like, is it just me, or does it sound like this bitch? It's like for the human beings, you know. Which was sympathetic reptilian bitch.
Yeah, I will change our priorities. I have to say on behalf of the public sphere or regulator, it must not change our priorities such as fundamental rights, freedom of expression, copyright, safety. I think that we have to be very steady and stable. And so...
What the fuck does AI got to do with safety? What the fuck does AI got to do with safety? We're going to push these regulations, bitch.
Having the regulation also means that we will start very intense cooperation in the triangle of public sphere, the world of technologies and research. This is a new thing. You started in the US already, and also the United Kingdom announced that there is such a platform. And we need to work together to achieve sufficient level of predictability of where the technology...
We need to work together. Hashtag New World Order. Because it's an EU nigga up here, a chick from the White House, a chick from Singapore, and I think the other guy's an American somewhere. I'm not sure.
Will go further, because this is what's missing.
So I accept that there's a lot of overlap in the sorts of issues that are being discussed, but if I closed my eyes, I would still know that that was what the Europeans were saying.
Wait a minute, he's saying there's an overlap. I hear everybody saying we need to work together. We need to work together. We need to work together. What the fuck this nigga talking about? This nigga don't hear that shit. I'm like, I guess I hear the subconscious, I guess.
The Americans talk about these things a little differently, right? Talk about
Salute.
our priorities. Not that we don't care about citizens, but rather that national security plays a pretty big role, innovation plays a big role in how the Americans are thinking about prioritizing regulation and governance in the space.
First of all, there's so many shared values between us and the European Union. I think that is the reason that we do see a lot of alignment and harmonization happening. And you mentioned, in addition to rights, national security, that's absolutely in frame. I want to step back one more step and talk about why we care about regulation, or thank you, Josephine, governance.
Yeah, she want to talk about it, why we care about regulation. This the bitch from the White House. Oh yeah, This bitch looked like a cigarette with silver hair.
That's much more comprehensive and appropriate. This is the most powerful technology
She wear more pantsuits than a brother at a funeral.
our times. And every time President Biden talks about it, he talks about promise and peril.
Every time Biden talks about AI, really, that nigga can actually talk to you. That nigga is actually coherent enough to speak. Okay, this bitch capping already, man. This bitch is lying. This bitch lying already. This nigga is not sitting in the room talking about no goddamn AI with you, bitch. You got me fucked.
I greatly appreciate his keeping both of those in frame. And we see the power of AI as something that must be managed. The risks have to be
managed. It must be managed. Okay. It must be managed because you could put me in Russia talking to Putin with my voice because y'all got voice command. So I can put me anywhere and be like, nigga, Hurricane did it. Yeah, regulate that shit. But it must be something deeper. Pause. It got to be something that's a lot more crazy for these niggas to be talking about regulations, unless they motherfucking going against a secret elite hacker group like that will fucking fuck these niggas up on some watchdog shit. Play the game Watchdog. They made like motherfucking like 3 of them. It's about hackers.
For all the reasons that we're talking about here. The reason is if we can do that, if we can build a strong foundation, if we can make sure that the quality of the AI technology is predictable and effective enough and safe enough and trustworthy enough. Once you build that.
All right. Now she's saying we need the AI to be predictable enough and trustworthy enough. So this bitch is afraid of the AI becoming self-aware. Simple. Simple. Just like in the movie The Matrix. We made this shit. And if you watch the Animatrix, where it shows like the human versus machine war, like when they became self-aware, like they wanted peace, and the humans said, fuck that shit. We fucked this shit up. Or we can go to Terminator. Nigga, we made Skynet. We made that shit. Yep. Justin Timberlake. Wild Dog movie, Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake. I can't see that nigga acting, bro. Every time I try to watch that nigga act, I'm like, nigga, I just don't believe you, nigga. I just don't believe you. But that movie, like Out of Time, was pretty cool. But just the storyline, not Justin Timberlake.
Effective enough and safe enough and trustworthy. Once you build that solid foundation, you want to use it to reach for the stars. The point is to use this technology to go after our great aspirations as a country, as a world. And if you think about the work that's ahead of us to deal with the climate crisis, to lift people's health and welfare.
Wow. Talk about the climate crisis. Wow. Lifting people's health and welfare. This bitch from the White House had to get that shit out there. Like, we got to say this shit in the World Economic Forum now. We got to say this shit. It's part of the script.
Make sure our kids get educated.
Make sure our kids get educated. Hashtag indoctrinated. Train for new skills. Hashtag cybersecurity, because everything is going digital. Everybody's going to be a cybersecurity officer, nigga. Like, look. Here's the future. No jobs. Everybody is cybersecurity workers or motherfucking niggas that's doing maintenance on the AI robots, nigga. Those are dog. It's only going to be maybe like 3 or 4 job descriptions left for niggas.
Other things that it's hard to see how we're going to do them without the power of AI. And I think in the American approach, we've always thought about doing this work of regulation as a means to that end, not just to protect rights, which is completely necessary, not only to protect national security, but also to achieve these great aspirations.
A little political question, which is the Biden administration.
Here's a real question. What great aspirations can you do with AI? Like really, what great aspirations? I think real shit. AI should be used certain places. Hashtag if y'all building cars and trucks and shit, and y'all building engine parts or something. Yeah, they like get the AI robots to make the machines for that. You know what I'm saying? And okay, you know, safe and efficient, quick, whatever, like however the game go, to make sure the distribution flow faster, whatever the fuck. But like what they talking about is like it sounds like they're some motherfucking war shit. It's like you don't want to get hacked for someone to go into that war system and be like, all right, I want to press this button, that button. You want to blow up some shit.
Right? There's a sensibility that, well, don't want to be too close to big industry, right? I mean, the Democrats have Elizabeth Warren. They're talking about breaking up monopolies. The oil companies aren't getting any access despite the fact there's a lot of production. When we talk about governance of AI for the United States, it feels like the White House is actually working really closely with the industry leaders. How is that? How intentional is that? How much is that necessity? How much of that is different from the approach to perhaps other bits of the private sector?
That may be what you see, but let me make sure you.
Of the private sector, not the public sector, which the sector that we all work at. All our jobs is in the public sector. We don't work for the government. Now, this is some private sector talk. I gotta let you know this is government shit, Fed shit, secret shit. Here we go.
See the whole picture. We absolutely have worked with Microsoft, the other major tech companies.
Motherfucker said Microsoft, hashtag Bill Gates. I don't know if he still got it or sold it.
That is where a lot of the leading edge of this technology is currently being driven for all kinds of practical and business reasons. But when you look at what went into our process, it was absolutely engaging with AI technology leaders, including especially big companies. It was small companies and venture capitalists. It was civil society and hearing from people who care about consumers' rights and hearing from workers and labor unions. That is an essential component of this work. It was working with academia to get a deeper and longer term perspective on what the fundamental bounds are on this technology. And I actually think this is an important part of our philosophy of regulation and governance is not to just do a top down and sit in our offices and make up answers. The way effective governance happens is with all those parties at the table. And to your point about the role of big tech, one thing that we have been completely clear.
That bitch said big tech. The role of big. This bitch said big tech. She ain't say she ain't say like the motherfucking role of the corporation. She ain't say like the role of our. No, she was like nigga big tech bitch. She felt out saying it, then she ain't give a fuck, bitch, man. This bitch from the White House. She look like she put her finger on a nigga get fired.
Now is that competition is part of how this technology is going to thrive. It's how we solve the problems that we have ahead. And so recognizing how much concentration happens when you take $1 billion to train a leading edge model, but also recognizing the explosion in entrepreneurial activity and venture investment, and watching all that and making sure that all of those factors are considered is absolutely intentional in the work that we're doing.
I actually think that one.
I heard entrepreneurial factors. So that's what entrepreneurs fucking with AI. All right, they're trying to regulate it because a nigga like me gonna get smart. Okay. Okay. I see it now. All right. But it takes a team to win a championship. I'm gonna need to find some people.
The White House did was pretty ingenious because the goal was to move fast. Because the EU had made so much progress in thinking about applications that used AI, and suddenly you had these new generative AI foundation models. And just remember, the world really didn't get to start using them until the 30th of November. So the first meeting that the White House had was the first week of May. So basically, 5 months later, brought in 4 companies, sort of said, you have to get going. These are the problems. This has to be safe. This has to be secure. This has to be transparent. And the 4 companies that came in, Microsoft was one of them, were given homework assignments. We want you to get.
Damn, this nigga was flat out. It was like, nigga, the big tech niggas came in and said, y'all bitches got to get to work. And dude flat out said it like, nigga, like, yo, this shit quick, nigga, homework assignments. Nigga, like, what the fuck? Like, nigga, I'm a grown ass motherfucker, man. Who the fuck you think you talking to? Nigga, I would have been like, I was like, he was like, come on, man, it's big. I don't give a fuck if it's big tech. I don't give a fuck. These niggas came in that bitch. I got homework to do. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
By the end of May, of what you are prepared to do to show the American people that you will address these needs. And I remember because we got to work right away, and you know, we were sort of proud inside Microsoft. We got it done fast. It was about.
We was proud inside of Microsoft. Oh, Bill Gates, we serve your master. We love you, Bill Gates. We love Microsoft. Thank you for the Xbox. Thank you. Thank you.
8 days later, we submitted a first draft so we could get some feedback. We sent it in on Sunday. And on Monday morning,
More questions.
I had a call with Arlene and Secretary Raimondo, and they said, congratulations, you got it in first. You know what your grade is? Incomplete.
Wow. Did it fast, turned it in, incomplete. But y'all bitches ain't do what I tell you. Nigga, we big tech. Nigga, we told you to cover this and cover that. But I'm just tripping. You know, like it's my first time watching this too. I might be motherfucking over-exaggerating.
Now that we know what you can do, we're going to tell you to do more and build on what you've done.
Wow, we're gonna tell you to do more and build on what you do. What? What? Can I get a what? What? I quit.
And it broke the cycle that often happens when policymakers are saying do this and industry is saying that's not practical. And especially for new technology that was evolving so quickly, it actually made it possible to speed up the pace. And then that complemented what was going on in Brussels. And there was a lot of interaction actually between Brussels and Washington with London and others. And I don't think that all of these governments would have gotten as far as they did by December if you hadn't engaged some of the companies in that way. And it's not like we got to write the blueprint. We just got to provide input. And then civil society, as they should, descended and said, no, there needs to be more, it needs to be broader, it needs to go farther. And it has since then.
So, if we look at the various models here, from top-down, government-driven, to multi-stakeholder, hybrid, everybody gets a piece, to the private sector moving really fast, break some things, but great competition. Do you think that they're
Private sector. Break some things. What the fuck you breaking? Nah, like nigga, what the fuck you breaking? That's some code word for some shit. Break some things, but make great competition. What the fuck y'all breaking? Oh yeah, like people's spirits of living and shit, because the price of living does went up. The fuck you breaking? Sabotaging people's shit on some James Bond shit.
are we going to iterate towards an ideal place? Say we're in the divergence phase, but as we converge, do you think we are likely to move to one place on that spectrum? Is there one place on that spectrum, or will it necessarily be very different answers?
Actually, I'm really happy that you brought up the idea of a spectrum. I really do believe that, in some areas we will find it necessary and possible to regulate through laws. For example, with deepfakes, I think there is a real sense that this is
This bitch said deepfakes. First, this bitch said laws, and then I heard deepfakes. And what I said before, I was like, nigga, they gonna have my ass in Russia talking to Vladimir Putin. It's a deepfake. Or what they afraid of this chick that's on the economic forum that's talking right now. They might crop her face to another Chinese chick and throw that bitch on Pornhub. That's what they're afraid of. Klaus Schwab getting plowed by motherfucking Biden. Pause. Motherfuckers wilding. That might fuck up the live. I need to, that's why right, all right, I'm back. So I told you, nigga, that phone call just like fucked up my phone. Hell yeah, then they knocked me out. YouTube on that bullshit. YouTube on that bullshit. But I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I paused it as soon as it happened. I was man, nigga, I knew that shit was gonna happen. Here we go.
You will have to look at responses in the market. You will have to assess whether the recommendations that are being put forth in these voluntary frameworks, they're actually useful. And then you will have further down the spectrum a lighter touch approach where there are just some advisory guidelines, and the people will have to
Advisory guidelines. There we go. Oh yeah. If you use this AI, you can't use it for this, that, this, that, this. You gotta use your AI for this. This is bullshit.
at the specific use cases of the AI models that they are bringing to.
Specific news cases. So like basically, like they afraid of us fucking up their motherfucking fake news with our real news. Nigga, we can deep fake the shit out these motherfucking news niggas on some real shit. But like I think that's what they're afraid of, man. But like if you look up what the Smith month that is, like nigga, like they can lie to us at any point in time through news coverage. Like they are allowed to lie to us, but we can't call them out on the bullshit. Fuck these niggas.
The market and whether it really needs to be regulated in the same way, um, as some other use cases. And so this more risk-based approach and also a full spectrum of tools, it will be part of our reality. That's how it.
So if you don't mind, give me two examples. Give me an example of a hard challenge that you think is going to need to have strong government oversight and regulation. And give me one that you think that is big, that is really best served by very, very light touch.
Well, at the moment, what seems quite clear to me is that our societies need an answer to how we deal with deepfakes. It's stealing a person's identity. It's worse than,
So, see, thank you. This is all I wanted to hear. He said, "What is the biggest problem?" I said, "Oh, bitch, I'm worried about my face being put on the body in a porno." This is what they talking about. Man, do y'all see my motherfucking like my videos not be used when I put my face on these other motherfucking people's bodies and shit? That's a fucking deep fake of myself, But they're afraid of that. They're afraid of that. And they're afraid of us probably using her face to actually tell the goddamn truth.
Your data that is anonymized, that is made available. It's being represented in a way that you do not intend to be represented. And there's something fundamental.
To see yourself the way you're not intended. Bitch, your ass scrolling through the Pornhub and you see yourself. Or, like I said, they catch my ass in Russia talking to Vladimir Putin, talking about some missiles and shit. They have my audio and everything. Yeah, nigga, you want to blow up every motherfucking thing.
Wrong about it. It's an assault on the infrastructure of fact. How can societies function where deepfakes are confronting us all the time and we can't separate real from fiction, reality from what is made up? So that is one specific example I do think that we as nations have to come up with an answer to, and in the not too distant future.
It's like we cannot distinguish the real from fake. Nigga, y'all made it that way by lying all the damn time. And two, y'all making robots and AI look very realistic. So it's your fault, bitch. Y'all made Skynet.
In another way, and I'm so glad we talked about it, there will have to be different ways of demonstrating whether an AI is being implemented in a responsible way. And the question of how do you implement tests, how do you benchmark them, these kinds of things are still very nascent. No one has answers just yet, that are very clear, very demonstrable. Those kinds of things seem to me, for a period of time, to be better served with advisory guidelines, sandboxes, pilots, and it may well take many more years of these kinds of experimentation before
many more years of experimentation. She said many more years of experimentation. One more time. She said many more years of experimentation. Bitch, I have a song called Experiment. I I ain't your motherfucking pyramid, bitch.
And in what situations?
So we talked a lot about different approaches to regulation and governance. We haven't yet addressed power dynamics. And I want to get at this with this group because we talked a little bit about the Brussels effect before. And the Brussels effect is served not only because you've got strong technocratic leaders in Brussels who are thinking a lot about regulation, but also because the EU is a very large market that drives a lot of influence around the world. Brussels effect wouldn't work so much if it was Bhutan, right? No matter how smart they are. So I wonder, in an environment where in AI, the power and the driving technologically is overwhelmingly not happening in Europe. It's not yet. How much does that undermine the ability of Europeans to set meaningful standards?
I think that we showed that we can set meaningful standards. It's the first thing, but at the same time, we combine it with a lot of other actions and a lot of funding. So we know that there is a gap. There is a need to push Europe forward in a lot of technological development. The funding we have made a calculation that every year we should invest around 15 billion euro private.
What's good? Salute, salute.
Be it from Brussels and from member states in order to push the technology development forward and to also unblock the ability of the industry and also small and medium enterprises to develop in that direction. So we are doing a lot of things to decrease this gap, but at the same time, I have to say that it doesn't decrease our ability to set the standards which might be inspiring for the rest of the world.
Do you share that in terms of the US versus Europe and the rest of the world? Is that dynamic? Yet so much of the tech is coming from the United States. It's moving fast. And technology companies are able to drive a lot of outcomes.
They are, and I think the fact that so much of this wave of AI has been driven by American companies is terrific for the United States. And I think it also means that we have a particular responsibility because this is not going to get solved by top-down government action. And this is going to be something that happens as governments, companies, industry across the board, plus civil society, plus workers all come together. And the fact that we have such an active industry and such a significant market in the US, I think really means that we have the privilege, but also have the responsibility to be serious about that. That's stepped up to this.
Brad, you and I talked a little bit about this. Is it fair to say that the governance models are not just going to be shaped by the countries, but also by the business model of the technology?
Oh shit. My bad. That was fine.
Easy for people to go back and say, well, this means you like GDP with Europe setting the rules for the world. But this time the United States is moving. The US still hasn't adopted a privacy law. So you have a number of countries, and I just think people are talking with each other and learning from each other, and that's good for the world. So I think it'll be a more collaborative international process.
Collaborative international process. Hashtag New World Order.
Because of that. Second, I think one should not lose sight of the fact that it's not just about who invented something or where it was invented, but ultimately it's who uses it and what business models they apply when they do. And it's worth recalling that it was a German who invented the printing press, but it was the Dutch and the English who then built the most printing presses with the German technology and printed the most books. And if you look at, say, GDP growth in the 50 years after the Germans invented the printing press, the Dutch and the English outperformed Germany. If you look at Europe today, the future of the auto industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the chemical industry, every industry.
The chemical industry. They got a chemical industry? Biochemical warfare.
Where Europe is so important. Their competitiveness.
Hell yeah, because like what they had that bitch Like, what was her name? That was gassing motherfuckers. It was a doctor bitch. I forgot her name. Like, she was a deadly Nazi chick. Oh shit, I said that word. Oh well.
will fundamentally be shaped by how they use AI and other things as well. And the truth is, therefore, people can say who built this model and maybe envy the person who did or the country that provided it. But I'll argue it's going to be the adopters that will be the biggest winners over the next 5 decades.
Adopters and those that bring it to market.
They said the next 5 decades. Well, damn, by like 2070. That's during the time of George Jetson, y'all. That's during the time of George Jetson, y'all.
Absolutely. But, you know, I mean, I also often have this conversation because, you know, for 10 years, you go to Europe and they say, but we don't have Facebook. We have to use Facebook from the United States. And I would say, you know, we used to get up at Microsoft and every day we'd say, we don't have a phone. One day we realized we are not good at building a phone and we can succeed without one. And I don't hear anybody in Europe today bemoaning the fact that they don't have their own Facebook, to be honest.
That niggas in Europe like, yo, man, I don't have no Facebook. How the fuck I need a Facebook for? Shouts out to the country that don't got Facebook, nigga. Y'all some real niggas. It ain't worth getting. It ain't worth it. And they're like, what? Fuck that, nigga. Talk about the site that breaks up niggas couples. I'm good. This country ain't having that shit.
You know, you go and you build what you need. You build what you need. Yeah,
I'm hearing this from
yeah. And so, you know, it's easy to turn the world into these rivalries, but when you do, you sometimes miss what actually is the most impactful, and it's the world's democracies building on each other's shared values, and it's the world's economies. First and foremost, ask what makes you great today, and then ask how you can use this new technology to make you greater, rather than spend all your time looking at what you don't have, so that you can think about building it. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but if you don't focus on what makes you great today, you're probably going to miss what's most important.
So not wanting to focus.
What? This nigga trying to throw a gem out there? What? Nigga trying? This nigga trying to throw a gem out there? Did you throw a gem out there, y'all? Let me know. But he's still an evil son of a bitch. I don't give a fuck, nigga. He ain't about to pull the hot strings. Nigga, you know how the World Economic Forum is all blue and shit. They want motherfuckers to be compassionate like a motherfucker. Nigga, everybody in that bitch wearing blue. Nigga, they cripped out in this bitch. True, the motherfucking bitch from the White House got the blue glasses on. Like she the analyst from the motherfucking Matrix Resurrections.
On what is contentious, but there's of course a couple big things we haven't talked about here so far geographically. One, of course, is China, and you know, outside of the United States, massive digital market, massive desire to be in this space, but some significant competition and constraints with the Americans and others. So I'll ask both of you, but I think I'll start with you, Justin, which is tell me a bit about how we don't have the Chinese connection. We wouldn't have time. If we did, right, how would the conversation change? What would be different if we had the Chinese opining openly about the way they think about governance of AI?
They've actually been quite open. They've published very specific guidelines. They've articulated recommendations for businesses, particularly that have a interaction with it. So if you go to China and you talk to the AI developers, there's no misunderstanding on their part about the expectations.
Hell no, there's no misunderstanding. China know what the fuck they doing. Nigga, you come over there and tell them what the fuck to do, they might motherfucking karate chop your head off. They're like, nigga, we got our regulations. No one talks about the government over here. Nigga, we kicking your fucking down. That's why I say, nigga, if I was over there saying fuck the government, nigga, I'm saying that shit from an underground sewer, hideout, nigga. They ain't about to fucking find me and kick my fucking door in. Those niggas don't play, nigga. Nigga, you say fuck the government over there in China if you want to. I watched them niggas, them motherfuckers crazy. I'm like, okay, that's how it is. All right, all right, all right.
If your AI models primarily go to one sector, it's very effective. If, however, your AI models are going to schools, roles in society, then there are a whole host of things that will be enough. So in that sense, actually they do have an interesting way of thinking about this. I would also say that there are some very thoughtful scholars, not least of all the United States, that are studying the Chinese way of AI government regulations.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Gotcha. She was like, even some motherfuckers over there in America's motherfuckers studying our ways. Oh yeah, I know y'all creeping over here, nigga. I know y'all creeping. Nigga, I already fucking know it. It's like that nigga, y'all trying to turn this bitch into China. I don't know what the fuck y'all doing. Nigga, y'all saw the movie motherfucking Demolition Man, nigga. Big fucking trying to do us like that.
The Carnegie
What can we take away from them? Yeah, take away our freedom.
very good work in this regard. I certainly think that Bletchley was very encouraging in the sense that had all the big players in the room. Yeah, our counterparts from China was also there. The minister was there, and I think it's a start of a very meaningful conversation. And the more we are able to exchange notes on what really makes sense with AI governance, I think we will be able to make better progress. That's the way we look at it.
There's been an announcement at the APEC summit between Biden and Xi that a track 1.5 on AI is going to be kicked off. That's certainly better than the absence. We also have a lot of people talking about some level of technology Cold War, given the export controls on semiconductors. Now, the Chinese see this as, well, maybe this is a way we can engage and not be cut out of AI by the Americans. How optimistic are you that there is a capacity of the Americans and others to engage with the Chinese in a way that doesn't lead to a greater decoupling in the tech side, particularly on AI?
This is a very difficult issue. I'm very encouraged both by China's participation.
This is a very difficult issue. What? Please. Motherfuckers care about their face being put on their body in a fucking Pornhub video. That's the motherfucker they care about. I'm talking about a complex issue. But it also goes back to like what I said a long time ago. I was like, nigga, once the world wars end, the corporate wars begin. There's gonna be a lot of corporations battling with different AI technology and shit. And it's gonna be Skynet versus Skynet versus Skynet all over the fucking world.
Bletchley, and of course President Biden and President Xi's announcement. And I think what we are talking about is multiple layers. There are areas where every participant around the world has a shared interest in getting AI right. Many of the issues of the core technology being predictable, being effective and safe and trustworthy, that's something everyone can agree on. But what happens above that foundation, whether it's economic opportunity, whether it's using it for national security and military purposes, really.
Yeah, I told you it's all about war, baby. The military industrial complex, nigga, we need this shit for weapons, transport.
Every part of the world is using this powerful technology in ways that reflect their values, very much to the description that you provided, Josephine. And that's that's exactly what you would expect. It does mean that we will be competing, and sometimes at odds with each other. There's certainly national security.
How's y'all gonna be competing about national security? Like, is y'all afraid of being spied on? This is why I say the fucking Cold War never ended. This is why I say the Cold War never ended. As long as there's spies, as long as y'all motherfuckers paranoid about who's watching who and got niggas phone tapping, motherfuckers got drones flying over niggas shit. The more y'all got that, the more y'all let me know that the Cold War is not ended. Secret agents is everywhere.
Interests that have to be protected, and all of these things are going to happen simultaneously. I think that's the reality of the world that we're living in, where we can find common cause with shared values with allies and partners around the world. I think that is.
And they shared values is watching you and me. and what we're saying online. And if we're using our AI properly, you know what I'm saying? Like when you download your free AI app, make sure you don't put it on a politician. Because if you do, you may get arrested.
We view that as so essential to forming, shaping the way that this moves forward. I think that's going to be to all of our advantage.
What do we do in an environment where so much of U.S. policy on tech towards the Chinese has been a concern about defining things that are dual use in 5G and in semiconductors? But in
this nigga said 5G and semiconductors. God damn. 5G ran by AI and semiconductor. What the fuck is a semiconductor? I didn't look that up.
Much of what you're discussing with artificial intelligence, something that you can use to make a car, you use to make a rocket. I mean, it's a guidance system, an autonomous driving system. How do you thread the needle in an environment where everything is potentially dual use?
Yeah, and that's the nature of what military capabilities look like today. That's absolutely the case. The work, all of our work, for example, on expert control, has been narrowly focused on the leading edge of semiconductors that are key to building the most advanced AI models. And that approach, this is not a blanket change in our trade policies or in the way that we think about technology and technology development sharing around the world. It's very specific, targeted, but very serious about the things that we do target. And I think
serious about the things we do target. Oh yeah, y'all talk about targeting a lot of innocent men, women, and children with an AI rocket. Yeah. Yeah, get to the nitty gritty. You're blowing up niggas.
Again, you have to hold many ideas in your head at the same time in this complex world.
You gotta hold many ideas in your head on complex ways to use AI to kill niggas. She's saying it. She's saying it.
To make sure we protect our national security interests and not allow.
Protect your national security interests, nigga. Man, come on now. We got over 200 plus countries that we conquered. And most of those countries was unarmed and defenseless. You bastard.
A potential adversary to use our most advanced technology.
A potential adversary like myself to use your technology. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. When I learn how to be a hacker, nigga, that's exactly what the fuck I'm going to do. Allegedly.
For military purposes. And at the same time, we know that we'll remain important trading partners, and that for so many of these other applications,
we remain important trading partners because that's what it's all about. Like that's what the UN is about. All right, let's meet up and talk about what we're gonna trade. Shit, like niggas been trading since the beginning of the motherfucking time. I trade you this Silk Road for the Golden Guard. I trade you this AI missile for that robot that can talk.
Whether they're dual use or not, we're going to have reasons that we want to continue to stay engaged.
Are the Europeans 100%, 95% aligned with that approach towards China and AI technology?
Well, yeah, I don't want to repeat what we have just heard because it's a very similar approach we have. We have a strategy.
See, everybody's on the same motherfucking page in this fucking panel.
Towards China, there are things where we need to be partners because the global things are at stake, and it might be AI security. That's why I publicly said before, Bletchley, yes, this is a good thing that the Brits invited China, because we need to have them at the table, and also to be a chance to ask questions. Where are you going, and are you willing to join some global platform where we could work on the standard?
A global platform. That sounds interesting. Interestingly horrible, because these motherfuckers is trying to watch us all. A global platform.
The second category where we are competitors, and of course chips and some critical raw materials. And
how can y'all say that we're working together and we're competitors in the same fucking sentence? I don't get that. Do y'all get that? Yeah, like we need to work together, but like, we still going to go against each other. I don't get that. These motherfuckers is double speaking. That's what that shit called. Double fucking speaking.
Now we have the strategy on how to more resilient, as for the economic security. So there obviously is China the competitor, and the category where China is a rival. And
Wow, China is a competitor and it's also a rival. And this bitch is real nervous on this panel on some real shit. You know, like everybody got their confidence level at 100. This bitch confidence level is at a 63.
Is shown in how we approach.
She the bitch from the
AI.
EU.
Because when I was in China, I read their guidelines also. And I saw a lot of similarities with our code of conduct for AI under G7 and with the AI Act. But there is big but. China, of course, they want to use AI to keep under control society. But in AI...
Oh, how dare you! How dare you say that in China is not in their motherfucking building? It was like, but they're using the AI to motherfucking control. No, man. You don't say no shit like that. You just threw a shot at China. You just shot a shot at China. Oh, bitch. She's representing the EU. So, nigga, she about to get a phone call. And I mean, like if she don't get that phone call, her boss getting that phone call, and she'll get a stern talking to through her phone call, or like probably, or you probably might not see her again.
In the horribly long, difficult dialogue, the main issue was how far to let the states go in using AI, especially in law enforcement sphere, because we want to keep this philosophy of protecting the individual people.
Did the bitch say AI law enforcement? Damn, we already got the robots.
And balance it with the national security measures. So here we cannot have common language with China, and we will never have.
One could say that the Chinese are, in a sense, the most interested in having strong regulations on AI. It's not the Europeans, right, for precisely those reasons. So, Brad, I mean, this is an environment where there's been a lot of joint research historically. There have been labs, there have been operations, a lot of them published in open source, increasingly challenging to do in a lot of these areas. How much are we losing as a consequence? And can you give a little guidance around where lines can be drawn?
Well, I think there's a few things that this conversation helpfully illustrates. First, there are some areas where there are universally shared values, even in a world that's so divided. No government wants machines to start the next war. And
get the fuck out of here. This nigga said what everybody's motherfucking thinking. This nigga, oh my fucking God, this nigga said the quiet part out loud. This nigga said the quiet part out fucking loud. This nigga said no government wants a machine war. Ah! Nigga, what the fuck, bro? This is what they talking about at the World Economic Forum, motherfucker. I told you, Skynet versus fucking Skynet, my nigga. Get the fuck out of here. Let's see what this nigga got to say.
Country wants humanity to remain in control of this technology.
Every country wants humanity in control of this fucking technology. How about this? How about this? Here's a great solution. How about not make it? And let's do what we did on this planet before we even had this fucking shit. Till the earth, motherfucker. Till the earth. Till the ground, till the day you die. Like Cain, motherfucker. Till the earth. Use your herbs and your remedies to heal. Motherfucker. We supposed to be stewards of the earth.
I think that is universal, and I think that provides a common foundation in some areas. The second thing that is very interesting is what the world can learn as it talks about even just this concept of regulation, is that we're all talking about the same questions. And that is what is revealed when you actually put the AI Act and the Chinese interim measures next to each other. Then the next thing you see is, when do people answer the same question in a different way, and why? And you can look at the AI Act and you can look at the Chinese measures and you can see in one the voice of Aristotle and in the other the voice of Confucius.
The voice of Aristotle and one is the voice of Confucius. I hear what? Don't put those damn niggas in this shit. They don't got nothing to do with this shit, man. Come on, man. Don't talk about Aristotle and Confucius. Don't got nothing to do with motherfucking destroying the planet with AI Skynet. These motherfuckers wild. It's like one motherfucker is Aristotle, the other motherfucker is Confucius. These niggas wasn't trying to destroy the fucking planet with AI technology, nigga.
Long, different philosophical traditions that manifest itself on how governments manage societies. But it helps, I think, everyone just to understand.
Did Confucius and Aristotle do their thing to manage society? Let me know. Because I don't think they was trying to kill niggas with AI.
How other people think. And then there is a
okay, all right. I ain't care about how other people think. All right, there we go. Now you're in the nigga head now. Pause.
level of just what I would call basic research in fundamental scientific fields. Scientific fields that will define the future of, say, climate technology, or just our understanding of molecular biology or physics. And the world has very much benefited from a tradition, and Arthi is an extraordinary representative, I think, of this tradition in the Office of Science and Technology Policy. I think you want a world that invests in basic research. You want a world where researchers publish their work. That's how people learn from each other. You do want a world, I think, where scientists in many fields have the opportunity to learn from each other. And so we have to manage that as well and not just close off all aspects of engagement. I think you put it very well when you said, these are difficult issues. They are very complicated. But I think there are certain strands here that we do ourselves well to just remember and think about.
So this has been an extremely enlightening conversation. I thank you for cramming so much into a short time. Because outside of this room, there has been so much discussion, I'd like to close it with each of you shattering a myth. What's something that you have heard, either here this week or outside recently, that you wish people could unhear about the state of AI?
Here we go.
Please.
I will start with every sentence that starts with the AI will do X, because I think every time we focus on the technology and imagine that it has agency and it's taking action, we ignore what is really important, which is people build AI systems, they train them, they choose what data to train them on. Lots of it is trained on human-generated data. People decide what kind of autonomy and agency to give these systems. People decide what applications to use them for. These are the most human technologies you can possibly imagine. If we're going to get governance right, we have to keep our eyes on the people, not just the technology.
That's a very good
We got to keep our eyes on the people and not just the technology. Bitch, say it out loud, bitch. I always feel like somebody's watching me. This is how you end your shit, bitch. The bitch from the White House said, I am, bitch, be watching you.
That's me.
I'm going to take a stab at this. I think it's helpful on occasion not to think of it as artificial intelligence, but perhaps as augmented intelligence.
Wow, he said, don't think of it as artificial, think of it as augmented. Now, we heard the term augmented reality or augmented people. Motherfuckers gonna have robot, have man type shit. Which all leads to transhumanism. Real shit.
To try and see how it can best serve the interests of human societies.
Yep, like I said, how to serve interests of human societies. Oh shit, I lost my hand in the war. Well, here go a new one. Oh shit, they blew my legs off. Well, here go two new ones. You can run faster now. Oh shit, I lost the eye in a pool fight. Well, here's a cybernetic guy. He can see through walls and motherfucking bitches motherfucking clothes and shit on some radioactive shit, on some Superman X-ray vision shit.
Orientation. Maybe we could have a more balanced approach in thinking about the opportunities and how we can deal with risks. So I offer that.
That's good. It should become more obvious as it starts training on your individual data. People are going to see it as obvious. Yes.
I share this view, but I will add one more thing. wherever I went here in Davos yesterday and today, I heard questions about the protection of elections and democracy.
This bitch, I was like, oh, I heard something about elections. Like, how's they gonna rig my election? This bitch like, bitch, I want to get voted in somewhere.
Mention it. For me, it's a nightmare that when to see the voters to be manipulated in a hidden way by means of
voters can be manipulated. Oh my god, this bitch want to motherfucking win something. This bitch trying to motherfucking oh shit.
In combination with well-targeted disinformation, it would be the end of democracy and democratic elections. That's why in Europe, and I'm coming back to Brussels reassured by the necessity to do more. We are now using this light touch, the agreements, with the technologists on disinformation and on labeling the AI production, so that the people see that this is the production of AI, and that they can make still their free autonomous choice.
I'd love for us to unhear AI impacting elections. I think we can all agree on that. Brad, yours.
I think we should shatter the myth sometimes stated in the tech sector that people in government can't understand the technology, because people in government do understand the technology.
Yeah, people in the government do understand technology. Like I said, we built Skynet. Skynet versus Skynet versus Skynet all over the fucking world.
Around the world.
What I just motherfucking say. So let's say world, this nigga said world, synchronicities.
Getting more experts. You don't have to understand everything at the same moment as someone in an industry. But yeah, government has mastered technology in most other, maybe every other industry, and is doing so here as well.
We can put an asterisk on Congress, though, right?
There are some people in Congress that understand it as well.
They're getting there. I agree. They're getting there. And with that, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
All right. That was the whole motherfucking thing. I wanted to clip the motherfucking shit, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We gonna listen to this shit together, man. We gonna get through that shit together. Fuck it. Fuck it. Nah. Shouts out to everybody for coming through. You know, this is the World Economic Forum. I said I was gonna cover some shit there. You like at least the interesting shit of the people, you know. What the evil motherfucker got plans for in our motherfucking next 50 fucking years. Hey y'all, regulations. But real shit, man. Shouts out to everybody for coming through. Peace to the Willis McCoy. Shouts out to J Mindset. Shouts out to Red Squid. Shouts out YouTube with Sure. What was that? What's that? Shouts out to Royal. You already know what it is. Royal and Loyal. Shouts out to y'all. Shouts out to Leonard the Judah. Lion the Judah. Shouts out to Baba's Rainbow Shaman. Shouts out. Shouts out to everybody else coming through. You might have to catch the playback. Hey, what's up, Miss Dawn? Shouts out to you. They might have to catch the playback. We was covering what's going on at the World Economic Forum. We was talking about AI regulations and shit. And you go to the World Economic Forum website, even this motherfucker got their comments off. I'm like, damn, every video for the World Economic Forum got their comments off. They some pussies. They some hoes. Oh, so you been here? Oh, snap. Oh, snap. All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for listening in. We just listening to these 4 cats, one person from the EU, the other chick from Singapore, the other chick from the White House, and I think the other guys from somewhere, but he was from here, America. But anyway, shouts out to everybody for coming through. This was a great show. I'm gonna cover some more people that's at the World Economic Forum. I don't know which one I'm gonna do next. I'm not sure. I think we might come back and watch shit. I'm not sure. But fuck it. You know, like I think it's something. But I catch y'all in a minute. Stay up.